over the last 5 months, I've been lucky enough to work closely with one of the oldest independent jewellery shops in Salisbury, that has been in Salisbury for 200 years. And over that time, one of the key solutions that I've been brought in or hired to do is run their digital advertising and social media content. At the end of the day, the job of all of those forms of marketing is, of course, to sell more products and help showcase what they have to offer to their clients. In that time, I've been working with them. I have helped them make just under £10,000 in additional revenue. One of the key bits of content that we cover for them, which is video and photography ads for their products. Personally, I wanted to create this video to share some tips and tricks that I've personally found has really helped me create better content for their social media channels and at the end of the day, make them more money. First thing being framing. When it comes to framing of any product, my first goal is always to do with something that I learned specifically when it comes to capturing wildlife, and that is to get as many pixels on our subject or product as possible, right? So in a world where you're shooting 5.3K like I am on this main camera at the moment, you want to get as many of those pixels on to that product to articulate, showcase and highlight that specific detail that the product has, so we can see it more clearly in that respect. I think this is one of the things that some people necessarily do, is they have their product too small in the frame and we can't see that detail. We can't see those detailed shots specifically. Of course, we want to also see a variation of shots, which I'll go in a little bit later, but the key is to see those nuance, those DLs, those key elements. So, you know, the branding on a Rolex, for example, the actual connections or the gems on a ring, for example, or some of those other unique features. And the only way I've found to personally be able to achieve this is, of course, you're going to need a close focusing lens. In my case, I use a 105mm f2.8 lens, which is a macro lens, which basically just means you can close focus with that lens, unlike most lenses where if, for example, I move my hand too close to the lens, it won't actually be able to keep focus specifically. When I started, I personally wanted to center frame most of the products that I had. However, I found that my eye wasn't getting pushed towards the products. So after some time, I experimented around with the rule of thirds to make sure that these products were either on the left or the right third. And personally, I think the images that have these products on those right or left thirds, or using the rule of thirds more, is actually more appealing as a whole. Personally, I'm setting a lot of my shots at f8 also, because I find when shooting on a macro lens, the depth of field actually becomes too shallow to get most of the product in focus specifically, and it still looks really, really nice and really, really clean specifically. So that's just something to keep in mind. You may have to play around with your f value. In regards to lighting, in most cases you want flat or soft lighting, and it will even out any imperfections that any product may have, and always is more flattering than harder light. In this client's case, we use a pop-up studio tent that has a built-in diffusion paper on each side, and then has either natural light coming in from the window, or then two light specifically firing into that diffusion paper on each side to match wherever possible. Something to be aware of though is if you have any other lights in the room, they need to be tuned to 5600 Kelvin, or making sure that they are able to be tuned to the same temperature, so you don't have weird odd colors reflecting on the face of a watch, for example. And that's something that I actually got from house lights that I didn't catch until unfortunately afterwards, so make sure to turn those off and make sure to have control over all of your lighting before starting to capture. In regards to movement, when it comes to product videography or product photography, I personally wanted to share as much movement as humanly possible. So it could be something as simple as a pan to reveal the product in question. Myself and the client, as we started working together and created more and more content, we found that we wanted to add more movement into what was going on. So they purchased a turntable. For me personally, I think the turntable itself was an absolute game changer, because A, you can play with time remapping when it comes to the video side of things, so you can see the back and the front of a product in the same shot using a technique known as speed ramping. For those who don't know, I'll leave some resources down below, but it's basically just manipulating the speed of that clip so the product will spin, and then it will slow down on the start and the end as well. You can also find as the product turns, it will also highlight different elements of the product because of the lighting setup, and it will add a level of polish and professionalism to each shot that you're creating. And of course, like whenever we create any video like this or anything like this specifically, a key story or a key theme is really, really needed. So in most cases, the products that we have been showcasing are not exactly cheap, and many of my clients' customers want to feel the uniqueness or the history of the product, as well as starting to understand the story behind the product as they're potentially looking at buying the product for a longer term investment. In the client's point of view, they also wanted to check if what we were doing was or wasn't working, so they launched a 50% birthstone promotion that firstly brings new customers to the store, but also allows them to understand that the work we're doing on social is the only place they're advertising that offer. So they were able to plan and share that 50% offer. So if someone did come in and expressed the want or the desire to have 15% off on birthstones every month, then they clearly know that it's working. It's a way of tracking that marketing is working for them, so they're not just spending for the sake of spending in that respect. And background as well, something that myself and the client also questioned and talks a lot about, was creating a more generalized product background and what the products were actually on for all of the images moving forward. When doing research from what other businesses use, all of them seem to have a product on a white background. For me personally, I find this very boring, and I think that we could do it better. So we choose this lovely velvety dark blue or black with then a grey or a darker background that really highlights the brightest part of an image. So in 95% of cases, the product itself, whether it's a ring, a necklace, a watch, etc., is going to be the brightest, it is going to be the brightest part of that image, which means your eye or the viewer's eye is going to be directly going towards or instantly connecting with that product, and they are not going to be distracted by a potentially clean but also quite bright background. Hence why I don't like white specifically. Creating effective products content requires more than just equipment. It's also you have to have a good understanding of framing, lighting, movement, and storytelling, and background choice to be able to work together to showcase the product at its best. Working with those technical skills specifically, I think for me, I think a lot of it, and I think it's something that I'm going to throw around as well. Something that I'm also going to be potentially experimenting around in the coming months as I create more product content for this client is involving a slider to really increase that motion. So we'll have a spinning product and a moving camera as well. So if you'd like to hear how that goes and my more thoughts on specifically how you can up what you're doing product wise, then do be subscribed to the channel. Thank you ever so much for coming back and joining me. I hope you took value from this little tutorial piece. I wanted to share some of the stuff I've kind of gained and some of the understanding that I have regarding the last couple of months and the work I've been doing with this client in question. I'll be doing some more videos talking about this as other clients as well and other client experiences as well, so why not be subscribed. If you do want to hear how social media can help your business in 2025, then I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section down below. Do feel free to reach out. I'd love to have a chat, and I'll see you very, very soon.